Good evening. Shockingly, the only three people that aren't listening to the instructions that were on the screen were my former bosses and coaches at the college. Thank you, Coach Dew. We want to welcome everybody to the 34th annual VCSU Hall of Fame banquet, and then this one has been 2 years in the making. And I can only imagine those inductees that have been waiting 2 years for this ceremony to happen. And we are really excited to be here tonight and to get things kicked off. It's indeed a great day to be a Viking, and this is one of the greatest days all year. We will culminate the activities starting tonight with tomorrow's homecoming game. And we are excited about that. Our football team is undefeated. We will be hosting a in-state rival. I am not one as a former coach to ever fuel the fire or to give fodder like that that the other team might like. But this did happen one time in my career. We had recruited a young man from Hatton, North Dakota named Chris Housen. And if anybody remembers the longtime football, baseball, and basketball coach at Hatton, his name was Coach Housen, is how he was referred, Jim Housen. And anyway, we recruited Chris, and Chris played for us for 2 years. And in the third year in our program, his dad had retired but had taken a job at Mayville State as the offensive coordinator. So leading up to the Mayville State game, Chris said, gosh, my dad, he's been giving me a lot of crap back and forth on how they're going to walk on us this weekend. He goes, do you have any good zingers for him? Because for some reason, I guess I'm known for my sarcasm a little bit. And anyway, I said, well, yeah, I've got one. And he had emailed me this. So I emailed him back, and I said, hey, Chris, just tell your dad you're sorry about Mayville State losing their website, because they couldn't put 3 W's in a row together ever. So I learned my lesson, because we got to Mayville State that year. True story. Coach McCulloch, Coach Horner. We got into the weight room. Here Coach Housen had taken that email and printed it and put it on the bulletin board for all of his teams to see. So the lesson is there, you certainly don't send anything by email that way, and you always respect your opponents. So, anyway, we won, of course, but I also want to thank VCSU for providing the opportunity tonight for us to get together. There's a lot of people that have to coordinate to make this thing happen, and we've got a great staff and a lot of people that behind the scenes that do a lot of great work this way. We'd also like to thank the Eagles for providing the environment for us to meet. With that, I would like to call on our athletic director, Jill Devries. Jill will have some greetings for us.
Welcome home. Welcome back. Welcome to dinner tonight and to a fantastic celebration of legends of the past. And we're super excited that you guys are all here. Congratulations to all of our Hall of Fame inductees. Congratulations to your family and to your friends who are here to celebrate with you tonight. And we're very proud to call each and every one of you a Viking and a Valley City State alum. So thanks again. Athletics has played a major role in all of our lives, and for some, it's why you chose and ended up at Valley City State University. For some, after VCSU, it became your career choice. Coaching, for many of you, lots of you, and teaching, right? But for all, it's where you creatively and intellectual and it's where your creativity and intellectual agility were tested. Along with your physical grace, your courage, and your ability to lead and inspire all of us. I've always, every year, impressed by the stories that get told tonight, and of course tomorrow, all day, and tomorrow night as well, as we celebrate the entire weekend. We celebrate you. We've had some success in Viking athletics these last 2 years as well. The 2021 season, so last year, saw a school record 7 All-Americans crowned, despite some adversity. We also had 54 student athletes earn Scholar Athlete Awards through the NEI, and we're very proud of those individuals. And then our 2021 softball team was a conference champion, winning the 13th conference title. So that's pretty cool. The efforts of our student athletes and our coaches the last couple of years has been extraordinary, and I want to say thank you to them. And I'd also like for them to stand and be recognized, because it's been an interesting 18 months. There's no doubt about that, right, coaches? So thank you. Please stand. I'd also like to take this time to thank our former student athlete and Valley City State Viking coach, Corey Anderson, for being our Masters of Ceremony and emceeing tonight's event. I'd like to thank Jenny and her staff for this delicious meal we're about to have. Kim Hesh, of course, for all the work she does in putting together this event and tomorrow morning's event and helping, and Mark Potts for this fantastic video presentation that we're going to have tonight. In addition, we have two student athletes here tonight. The first one that I would like to introduce, the first one is Allie Critchley. Allie is the captain of our women's basketball team, and she was crowned the homecoming queen this week. She's a junior from Dilworth, Minnesota, which some people think is my alma mater, but our high schools combined, and we didn't like each other that much 35 years ago, but now it's okay, right, Allie? And the second is Kylie Loff. Kylie's a senior from Minot, North Dakota. She's the captain of our women's track and field team, and she will be giving our invocation a little bit later. Again, welcome back. It's great to see all of your faces. Enjoy the weekend, and go Vikings.
Thank you, Jill. At this time, I'd like to call on the head coach of our university, our president, Dr. Alan Lefebvre.
Thanks, Corey. Thank you, Jill. Thank you to all of you for being with us this evening. What a great event this is, to welcome you all back to campus and to have a chance to celebrate what you did to make campus so great when you were here, and how many of you are continuing to do that even today. I know for many of you, it could be many years since you've last been on campus and had a chance to see some of the changes, the improvements, and the differences, both in the physical plant and just the overall layout of campus. I'm really lucky. I truly believe I have the best job in Valley City. It's not even a job. It's a pleasure to come to work every day with these wonderful people. The thank yous that have been mentioned, I don't need to reiterate other than just to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who helped prepare for this evening's event. Thank you to all of you for being here. What a tremendous legacy you've all left our campus and our current students and athletes at Valley City State. You've given them a benchmark to live up to and to strive for. And to the presentations that we have this evening, I know, are just going to be absolutely tremendous. So thank you for being here. Enjoy the time back here at Valley City. Enjoy your time being home. We had a recent HLC accreditation visit. HLC, what does that stand for? Higher Learning Commission. One of the things they said when they left our campus that really struck them, in fact, it was the first thing they said, was the strong sense of family and community that this campus has. And you all played a major role in making that happen. So welcome home. We're glad you're back to visit with your Valley City family. I hope Carrie and I have an opportunity either this evening or tomorrow during the game or the parade or the breakfast to interact with you and get to know you. Please come up and introduce yourselves to us if we haven't had a chance to talk with you. And we hope you have a really tremendous time back here at Valley City State. Thanks again, and go Vikings.
Thank you, Dr. Lefebvre. At this time, Jill had mentioned Kylie Loff will come forward to give us our invocation.
Can you please join me in a prayer? Dear Lord, we thank you for each and every one who is here today and for the opportunity to have many Hall of Famers in our presence. We are assembled here tonight to celebrate the successes of previous student athletes and coaches of Valley City State University. Lord, you have looked down upon us with favor and spread the blessing of your love over these athletes through the joy of participation in athletics. Please continue to watch over all of us VCSU Vikings. Let us triumph through each day, helping those we can and appreciating the support and love we get from those around us. Guide us throughout this night and each day that follows to go forth, glorifying you by our actions and deeds. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, enjoy your meals and your conversation, and you will get a 5-minute warning on the screen when we will resume. I learned that from Coach Mack. He's really big about segmenting like that. If it was Coach Dew, it'd be, okay, one more story. Just one more story. Welcome back, everyone. We will begin the second half of our ceremony. As we recognize those former Vikings, we would also like to recognize the individual Vikings in attendance that have been inducted previously into the Hall of Fame. I'm hoping that I have everybody here, and if there isn't, at the end we'll please ask you to stand. But at this time, I will go through what I believe I have here. From the class of '87, John Thomas, please stand. From the class of '88, David Rausch. From the class of '95, Larry Gruters. Also from the class of '95, Charlene Stenson. A happy belated birthday to Charlene. She just had a significant birthday. I won't tell you what age that birthday was, but she is in a better mood because she's over the fact that the gym on campus is named after Charlotte Gratian and not her. She'd been bitter for a long time. From the class of '96, Don Lemnis. Front row. From the class of 98, Jim Dew. From the class of 2002, Coach Brushwine. In the back row, Chop Chop. From the class of 2005, Kelly Keitel. From the class of 2007, Don Bauer. From the class of 2014, Rodney Skitland. And from the class of 2018, Jed Klein. Any individuals that I would have missed, please stand. Oh, excuse me, Dave Olson from the class of 2019. It was too recent, David. I'm sorry. Thank you, Dave. We also have members of teams in attendance, and we just celebrated a 40-year reunion a couple weeks ago. I want to acknowledge now with the team of 1980. Please stand if you were in attendance. Any other individuals on teams that have been inducted, please stand at this time. So we're gathered this evening to celebrate 6 individuals and 2 teams that are being inducted into the Viking Hall of Fame. These individuals, 2 of the best golfers that have played at Valley City State, 2 of the best golf teams, 2 veteran football players that were excellent at their craft, a 2-sport athlete that excelled in both softball and basketball, and a baseball player who was probably the best all-around baseball player to play at Valley City State. We're excited this evening to induct these individuals into the Hall of Fame. At this time, it's my pleasure to begin the service with our first inductee, narrated by Mr. Monty Johnson, Kyle Bauer.
A Valley City native, Kyle Bauer chose to attend his hometown university and found collegiate success at Valley City State, excelling as a golfer for the Vikings from 1989 to 92. At Valley City High School, Kyle was a standout in both golf and basketball. He averaged 22 points per game during his senior basketball season and was named to the All-State team. As a golfer in high school, Kyle recorded the first ever hole-in-one on hole number 8, measuring 346 yards at the Valley City Country Club. If you are familiar with the course, you know that is quite a feat. Kyle started his Viking career as a dual sport athlete, competing in both golf and basketball at Valley City State. Eventually, golf became his main collegiate sport, and Kyle became a leader on the team. He helped the men's golf team win back-to-back conference championships in 1990 and 1991. Kyle was also named All-Conference in both of those seasons. He finished second at the conference meet in 1991 with a 36-hole total of 5 over par, a 149. He placed fourth at the conference meet in 1990 for all-conference honors as well, and he won a handful of medalist honors during his collegiate career at regular season meets. Kyle was also named an NAIA Academic All-American in 1992. Kyle also won 3 club championships at the Valley City Town and Country Club. He defeated his father, Don, for his first club title in 1987 and then won back-to-back titles in 1992 and 1993. Kyle's many accomplishments will be remembered in Viking history, and we are honored to welcome Kyle to the Viking Hall of Fame.
Accepting Kyle's award into the 2021 Hall of Fame is 2007 inductee, his father, Don Bauer.
Fun to get old. First of all, I want to congratulate the inductees and the teams this year's Hall of Fame. And then I want to introduce my honored guests with me tonight, honoring Kyle. Tonight we have Kyle's 3 children, Alex, Emma, and Aaliyah. And I have my daughter Kelly and her friend Dan, Kyle's friend Marie, my daughter Melissa, her friend Jeremy, and her children Adam and Grace. I never in a million years ever thought I'd come up here and honor my son posthumously. You'll have to bear with me through this ordeal, but I'll get it together. I'm going to try to bring Kyle a little bit to life for you, because he's not here that you can see. So, give me a minute. I'll be all right. When he was a toddler, I knew that he would be a good athlete. He'd taken the balls, bats, hoops, anything that he could get his hands on. He had a hoop in the doorway and golf clubs, little wiffle ball. I remember sawing off a driver when he was about 3 years old, so he had this driver and a little putter. And from there on, he just kind of took to those sports. As you saw, he had an excellent career in high school. He started out, he won the junior championship as an 8th grader and won it 3 years in a row. And in those days, you could challenge to qualify to play in the club championship, and that was always his goal, was to meet his dad. And in 1985, he did qualify, but he got taken out in the semis. And in 87, we talked the night before, right before the semis, oh, this might be the year that we get to meet father, son, and lo and behold, it did happen. And we went down through the 18th hole, and I let him win. No, really, if you know me, I'm a competitor, and so was Kyle. But I yanked one into the woods on number 9, and Ray Brown can always attest to that hole. We'd talk when Ray and I were partners against Bob King, my good friend, and my other good friend Raleigh Enstead. We'd always work those guys. We seemed to work on Raleigh to yank one into the trees. But anyway, he had an outstanding career in high school, and one of the things that he also, as a sophomore, he already decided what he wanted to do as far as his career in life. And it was to be like his idol, Sid Hartman. That's Ray Brown. We gave him that nickname years ago. Bob King and I call him Sid because he's been mistaken for Sid Hartman, or was. But at that age, he wanted to be a CPA, and as last year in college, he actually interned, didn't he, with you, Ray? He did. Then he went on, he was recruited by John Muraski, and Wayne State and Concordia, and he chose Valley City. And then Muraski left, and he got to play under Coach Johnson. His senior year in college, he met another challenge, and that was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in his senior year, which was a shock to us. But he battled, and he came through that with flying colors. And he wanted, as he graduated that May, he wanted to take a CPA test, but he was so ill that he couldn't prepare for it. And I remember he said, before he took a CPA test, Dr. Lefebvre, you'd like this, said, maybe I should have gone to UND. I'd have a better chance of passing that CPA test. Well, he had some wonderful instructors. I remember Dean Carges, Ralph Hooper, some of them. I'm sure I'll miss somebody that were very instrumental in shaping his life. And he did go on and pass the CPA test the first time. And I think there's 4 parts to it, and he was really elated about that. From there, he went and got a job with Microsoft, like a lot of people from Valley City kids that go to Microsoft. There's oodles of them. Then from there, he went to Blue Cross for a while, and then he ended up in a hospital in St. Paul, where he met his wife. And from there, they moved to Phoenix, where he was basically in charge of Medicare and Medicaid, the functioning of it. And he knew that stuff inside out. He'd pick up those manuals, they're terrible things, and study those things. And well, after a few years in Phoenix, I forget how many years, they moved back to Baxter, Minnesota, and he took a job as Chief Financial Officer at the Cuyuna Medical Center in Crosby, Minnesota. He was their Chief Financial Officer for 10 years. And then something happened where the CEO was asked to resign and leave, and Kyle took over that spot on an interim basis. He was their CFO and their CEO for 6 months. And he was a workaholic. And eventually, he was named CEO. And he was that position for 5 years. Kyle eventually had a burden. His last year at the Cuyuna Medical Center, he was an addict. He was addicted to alcohol. And he functioned very well during some of that time. But eventually, it got to him, and he had to go into treatment. And he did go to Hazelton and was treated there for a month. Came out of there just great shape, just absolutely wonderful. And then a number of things happened. We lost our daughter in May, and after that he kind of relapsed and went into treatment again for 2 weeks. Came out of there very good shape. Came home, played golf with me several times, and just wonderful. And then all of a sudden, if you ever know, you'd have dealt with a person that's addicted. This is a different type of disease we all have social drinking, and sometimes you know people that go out and get hammered, and the next day they sober up and they're fine, you know. They go around and maybe do it again 2-3 times, and maybe they're the town drunk. But when you're dealing with somebody that's is addicted and is trying to suppress pains, God knows what they are. I don't know what they were. We don't know what they were. We know some things. But to try to help, and they're so intent on getting rid of that pain that they evolve into another person. Kyle was not Kyle in the last couple of weeks of his life. We dealt with it. Thought we had him convinced to go into treatment. It didn't happen. He went out back and he had a fatal accident because of his addiction. He fell and sustained an injury that caused his death. God, he wanted to be here so bad tonight. If you know anybody that you have in your family or know anybody, they need support. Love them. Keep loving. Tell them that you love them every day, because they may not be here the next day. Oh, I forgot to introduce my lovely wife of 60 years, my God. Here she sits looking at me like, what are you doing, Dad? So we just had our 60th wedding anniversary of Sandy, my wife. I love you, dear, and Kyle, wherever you are, I love you, son.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. I worked for Don for several years. He will always be Mr. Bauer to me. Those of you Highlanders that are in the audience know that to be true as well. I am sure that Kyle couldn't be prouder right now of the job that was just done in presenting him into the Hall of Fame. And anybody that has golfed the Valley City Country Club and knows number 8, to imagine holding that is an unbelievable feat. So congratulations. Our next inductee this evening is Matt Johnson.
A Valley City native, Matt Johnson became a 3-time All-District and All-Conference golfer for the hometown Vikings from 1991 to 1993. After graduating from Valley City High School, Matt attended North Dakota State University for 1 season before transferring to Valley City State. With the Vikings, Matt quickly became a leader on the men's golf team. Matt shot a 36-hole score of 3 over par, a 147, as he claimed the individual conference championship as a sophomore in the fall of 1991. His individual title helped the Vikings to their 2nd straight team conference championship. Matt followed that up with an individual runner-up finish at the NAIA District 12 meet that same year. It was the start of a fantastic 3 years for Matt. He went on to earn all conference and all district honors each of the next 2 years, finishing in the top 5 individually at the North Dakota Collegiate Athletic Conference and NAIA District 12 meets. As a senior, Matt was also named an NAIA Academic All-American. To this day, he is the last Viking golfer to win an individual conference title. After college, Matt has continued his golf career in numerous roles as a teaching professional or coach. He is currently in the 13th season as head coach of the NDSU women's golf team, which he has developed into one of the premier programs in the Summit League. Congratulations on your accomplishments, Matt, and welcome to the Vikings Hall of Fame.
But this is a little bit different. I'm not sure how this will go, so I decided I would take a few notes and we'll see how this goes. But I want to say thank you to a few people to start. First, anyone that's responsible for this night in general, and just recognizing me, and Kyle, and a couple of golf teams. I think that's great. You know, golf's a great sport. A lot of us play it. Not a lot of us are competitive at it, but it sometimes is a little bit of a hidden sport among some of the other sports, and to have had that opportunity to play that here was great, and then to be recognized for that fact is also pretty special. My parents are here, and anytime you're able to have your parents, it's something that's important, that matters. My brother Dave is here. Thanks, Dave, for coming. My other brother, Mike, who's not here, but I actually got to play a year of college golf with him when I was a senior. He was a freshman here at Valley City State, and that was kind of a special thing. And then Carrie, my longtime significant other, life partner, who is a volleyball coach, assistant coach at MSU Moorhead, and her team is actually competing right now. She's kind of been taking some peeks on the phone, but she made the decision to come here because she knew this was important to me, and she takes her job pretty seriously and is pretty good at it. And the fact that she's not with her team and here, thank you. Corey, when I visited here and decided to come here, he was pretty important in that decision for me, and his communication and all the work that goes in to planning for this was pretty extraordinary. And Kim too, getting that ready. And Dave Bass, I haven't seen Dave tonight, but I know he had a hand in this too a little bit. So I want to thank all those people and many more. When I was 12 years old, I grew up in Valley City. I'm from here. I went to high school and obviously college here. When I was 12, my parents signed me up for some golf lessons through the city rec department out at the country club with a set of crappy old garage sale golf clubs with ugly baby blue grips that you could barely even keep in my hands, and I loved it. I took a liking to it, and my parents recognized that, and they joined the country club. They bought a membership, and all of a sudden we were members at the country club, and I think that kind of led to basically what's become my whole life. After we joined the country club, if my parents ever wanted to see me, I think they had to basically schedule a tea time with me for the next 8 years, because that's where I was. From April to October, I was at the golf course here in Valley City. I went to NDSU as a freshman. I now coach at NDSU. I was going to play golf. I had this grand academic and life plan. And then a few weeks and months after I got there, it all kind of imploded on me, and things weren't the way I had thought they would be. And I kind of panicked a little bit, I guess you could say, and struggled to know what to do. What should I do next? What do I need to do? And for a lot of people, maybe the right thing to do would have been to stick it out and just adjust and press forward. But what I needed at that point in my life was something a little different. And I came back and visited Valley City. Again, Corey showed me around a lot of really great people, including some guys who were going to be my teammates and some who had been my teammates in high school. They all seemed excited to have me. I was made to feel like I was going to matter and that I was important. And I made the choice to transfer here, and it proved to be an excellent decision for me because I had a great 3 years. I felt very comfortable at Valley City State, and I got to play the sport that I love, and that's the main thing. I'm very thankful that all fell into place for me, and that I ended up here. It's a little bit unique when you end up going to college in your hometown, because a lot of the people that you know in college were also people that you knew growing up. Today, a few of us got together out at Pederson Park Golf Course, and between the rain showers and during the rain showers, we actually played 9 holes. And I was telling my team just yesterday at practice when we were rained out that I was going to see a few people today, a couple whom I've seen on a fairly regular basis and a couple whom I haven't seen in almost 30 years. And I said, but I can guarantee that when we get out there and on the golf course, it's going to be like it was just like it was. And it was. So Todd and Mike and and Kirk and John. I had a great time today. I hope we can do it again tomorrow. We played today, and there were 5 of us, and we'd all been Viking golfers, but not necessarily all at the same time. So we decided we're going to take because the golf team is 5 players, we were going to take our 5 9-hole scores, multiply them times 2, take the best 4 scores, and that would be our team score. So we actually ended up shooting a 310 today. Right? We had a couple 38s, a 39, and a 40, and then just like we always did when we were in college, we threw out John's 86. But it was a great time, and it was definitely special to be out there with some guys, some of who I didn't know till college, and others whom were great friends of mine growing up, and I know Mike Ford, for example, is so damn old that by the time I got to college, he was long gone. But he was at Valley City State when I was in high school, and he was always a good guy to me and a big influence on me. Todd's been a great friend of mine forever. John Braun has been someone that's been significant in my life for a long time and still is. And Kirk it was great to see you again today. And again, it was just like going back to 1991 again. When we were younger, when I started golfing at 12, 13 years old, I got to know Kyle really well, and he became a friend really quickly. He was only a year older than me, but I was new to the sport. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I was kind of shy and a little afraid of things, and Kyle was not. And I think I gravitated toward him because of that. I remember caddying for him. I think Don alluded to he won the junior championship in 8th grade and played in the men's club championship, and he asked me to caddy for him, or maybe I asked him if I could. I don't remember. But I remember his weird little golf bag. It was like faded yellow with no pockets. It was just big and open, and it hung like almost all the way to the ground. But it was a really big deal to me that I was caddying for him in the club tournament. And I really respected Kyle because of how good he was at the sports he played, both golf and basketball, because I attempted to be a basketball player briefly. But what I really admired about him was the fact that he did what he did confidently, and he believed in what he was doing, and that's what I was lacking at the time, and that's, I think, what I really tried to learn from him. Was I would just look at him and he just owned it. He wasn't afraid of anything. I was talking on the golf course. Todd was telling a couple stories about the club tournaments back in the day, and I said, yeah, that was the year that once again Kyle totally kicked my ass in the championship at the club tournament. And he said, well, yeah, Todd, Kyle was a competitor, and he was a great friend of mine, but he wasn't one that was just gonna lay down and let you win. So I remember feeling good about the fact when I realized I had kind of reached his level competitively, but I never beat him in the club tournament. I never did. But he was a big influence on me, and I think it means a lot to all the rest of us that knew him and grew up with him that we're all here and that we get this weekend together. I think that's kind of a little bit of a silver lining in all of this. This is really important to me. I'm looking at my notes now. I tell my players at NDSU a lot of stories. A lot of them have to do with when I was a player, when I was younger, and sometimes the stories are actually about, here's something that I did and it's good. But a lot of times the stories are, here's how I handled something, and here's how I think you can handle this better. Because again, I did my best. I was out there trying as hard as I could, but I certainly was far from perfect, and I didn't handle everything the way that I could. And so my players have heard a lot of stories about not only my experiences as a VCSU golfer, but also some of my teammates and some of the experiences we had, and some of the goods and some of the bads. I've told them a lot about, I explained to them why I wasn't going to be at practice today, and they learned a few things. that I think will matter to them. Being a coach has been great. I kind of fell into it. It wasn't like a career choice necessarily. It's just something I became. And people hear that I'm the women's golf coach at NDSU, and having been a golf player myself in college. But my players I see them as very important, significant, high-functioning, intelligent young ladies, and I know that I have some amount of influence over them, and that is something that I do not take for granted, and because of that, I consider my job to be pretty important. It's hard sometimes. I can tell you that even yesterday brought with it a couple of challenges, but I love my job, and I love the fact that my experiences growing up and as a golfer at Valley City State actually ultimately led me to have a career that's all been based around the sport of golf, and it's been great. I've enjoyed it, and I hope it continues. The last thing I'd like to say is the year after I graduated, my sport, golf, was cut at Valley City State, and a few other sports were too. It was a challenging time and decisions needed to be made, but I remember being disappointed. But again, now jumping to more recent, I think it was it 2009 when golf and some of those other sports were reinstated, and always following Viking athletics and paying attention. I've been really impressed the last few years with the focus on athletics and the people that, from the president on down to Jill, the athletic director, and all the coaches here. It's super important, and they realize the worth and the value of it, and because of that, there's been a lot of success, and I think that's admirable, and that's something I've been pretty proud of to see. Coach McCulloch over here, I know you've been around a while. You've been living at 1126 10th Street Southwest, the house I grew up, for a long time, and we finally got the chance to meet this summer and down in Detroit Lakes, and I saw him speak at the Oarsman Golf Tournament, and I know you've been around a while and had a lot of success, and the energy that he still has, and the energy that he has, and his passion for being here, I just loved it. I did. And it was great to talk to you, and they're off to another good start. He's got another great team this year, and I love commitment, and I love loyalty. And again, you want to move up, you want to advance yourself, so that's great too. But there's something to be said for people that find a spot and they just love being there, and they give it their all. And I've seen that there's a lot of people in this room that's what you've done, and I think that makes a difference. And then you fill it in with some other people who come in and give it all the energy in the world too. So I guess that's about all I have to say. This is a very special night, and I never imagined that I would be a Hall of Famer for anything. So I really appreciate this, and thank you to everyone, and all my teammates, all my friends, my family, all of you that are here. Thank you for listening, and go Vikings.
Thank you, Matt. You did golf in the Oarsman Scramble this summer. There was 120 of us there. There was Matt Johnson, the only golfer, and 119 other people. His team, I think, probably finished third, and I'm not quite sure how. That was an individual score, I believe. So, and speaking about Matt Johnson, the coach, we have a family friend that golfs for Matt at NDSU, and I would ask Sierra, hey, how's golf going? And her standard response to me is, my coach is awesome. And it doesn't get any better than that. Those of us that have coached, that's all we could ask for. So, well done, Matt. Our next induction is the 1990 and 1991 golf teams.
The 1990 and 1991 men's golf teams won back-to-back conference championships in the North Dakota Collegiate Athletic Conference. The 1990 team edged Minot State University by 4 strokes to win the conference meet and won individual medalist honors at 4 of the season's 6 meets. Mike Ford won 3 straight tournaments to open the season, and Kevin Getz won a 4th tournament for Valley City. Getz and Kyle Bauer both earned all conference honors at the NDCAC meet, finishing in the top 5. As a team, the Vikings shot a 2-day total of .639 to win the conference title. Monty Johnson was head coach. The 1991 men's golf team made it back-to-back conference titles as they shared the championship with Minot State. The Vikings shot a .613 at the NDCAC meet to claim their 2nd straight conference title. VCSU sophomore Matt Johnson won the individual championship, shooting a 3-over-par 147, while junior Kyle Bauer finished 2nd with a 149, and Kevin Getz placed 5th. The Vikings went on to finish 3rd at the NAI District 12 meet in 1991. Johnson, Bauer, and Getz were named All-Conference, and Johnson earned All-District honors. Daryl Anderson was the 1991 head coach. To this day, the 1990 and 1991 teams remain the last golf teams in school history to win the conference championship. Congratulations on your accomplishments, and welcome to the Viking Hall of Fame.
At this time, we would like each member of the 1990 and 91 teams to please come to the stage, introduce themselves, and Mr. Todd Peterson will have some remarks.
Filling over here. Keep going. Keep going. I'll introduce myself first. My name is Todd Peterson.
Greg Payment.
Mike Ford.
Jim Dew, Jr.
Kirk Baith.
And we know Matt, and we know Monty. I'd like to show my appreciation. I never thought in a million years that I'd be standing up here being inducted into the Hall of Fame. When I got the call from Mr. Bass, he left a message on my phone, and it kind of got cut off, so I listened to the message, and he mentioned Hall of Fame, and that's about all I got. And I thought, well, I know I was an intramural monster. It couldn't be for that. So then I called him back, and he said, yeah, we're going to induct your teams into the Hall of Fame, and that made a lot more sense. Growing up golfing with all my friends in Valley City, it just felt natural to keep going at Valley City State. Usually, golf in college was unique. I give you a taste of what a college golf meet is like. My freshman year, we played in Mayville, and we teed off, and it was about 38 degrees. And not long after teeing off, it started snowing. And in Mayville, there's a spot on the course where you kind of go down in a little ravine, and we all got several layers of clothes on, and then we go down in the ravine out of the wind, and you're taking clothes off. And golf also in college is like today when we played. You play through drizzle, you play through wind, you play through heat, but it's golf, and it's fun. I didn't prepare a speech. I kind of came into this the same way I came into Mrs. Lenneberg's speech class at LSC State. I just came up and went off the cuff. So my second speech, Mrs. Lenneberg said, Todd, you need index cards. I said, okay. So the next speech I came up and I did my speech and I handed in my cards and she goes, okay, Todd, I appreciate the cards, but next time you need to write something on them. I think going to Valley City State, it was a very special time because there's a lot of small town kids that come to Valley City State, and you kind of get to know everybody from different areas, and everybody seems kind of meld together, and I think the type of people that I went to school with is indicative of the type of people that are here now. They are good people, and they tend to be there for you. I know golfing with my teammates was very enjoyable. I mean, I asked Matt, I said, do you remember very much about these meets? And, you know, Matt remembers a lot of stuff, but he goes, some things. And I asked Mike, I said, do you remember a lot of stuff about the meets? And no, not really. So I searched the internet today trying to find any information, and then surprisingly enough, there's nothing out there about our golf meets. I do remember when we played in Minot and won the conference championship. When you're golfing, you kind of see your teammate, how you doing, whatever. And on the second day, it was nip and tuck between us and Minot, and nobody has seen Kevin Getz for a while, and we all knew he struggled on the first 9 holes, and so we're all coming in, and we're kind of looking at the scores, and I mean, we're all competitors. We want to win. And so finally, Kevin Getz is coming up the fairway, and he's kind of, he's a big Canadian. He's kind of moping up the fairway, and we're going, oh, God, no. And he finishes out the hole, and we're like, Kevin, how'd you go? How did it finish? And we were expecting bad news, but he finished the back 9 1 under par and brought it home for us. And that was the thing about our teams was it was Matt or Kyle or Kevin or Mike. It was, and I like to say that, it's the foundation of the team. The guys holding everybody up are like the Todd Petersons and the Kirk Bass and the Jimmy Doo. But no, it really wasn't. It was the Matts and the Kyles and the Mikes that really led our team, and we're the benefactors. Also, I'd like to acknowledge our coaches. Monty was our coach one year, and Coach Anderson was our coach. And I really admire them. They really put in the time to drive us to the meets. Really appreciate that. My freshman year was it was referenced that John Moraski was our golf coach. Coach Moraski was from Florida, and our first meet we were going to Mayville. And so if you know the route from Valley City to Mayville is through the 2-lane roads through, rural North Dakota. And I think it was somewhere between Page and Arthur. We're driving down the road, and Coach drove fast. I was scared. He's from Florida. It's what he's used to. We're driving down the road, and here comes this pickup truck tooling down the road. And in North Dakota, people wave. How's it going? And his first reaction, he flipped him the bird. I was sitting in the front seat. I go, Coach, what are you doing? Well, he flipped me off. I said, no, Coach, he waved to you. He was shocked. He couldn't believe that somebody was waving to him. I said, well, that's what we do in North Dakota. We're friendly. So we turned, if anybody familiar with the little towns of Arthur and Hunter are on that Highway 18 up to Mayville. I didn't see either town. I think we went about 90 miles an hour through both towns. I said, Coach, you got to slow down. This is a town. He goes, this is a town? Well, he caught on after a little while. So, and actually, I'm really, like I said, I'm thankful Monty and Daryl were much safer drivers than Coach Moreski. I won't tax you with a lot of stories, but Matt referenced this story to me earlier today. Being from Valley City and on Valley City High School, there were several of us from Valley City, so we played a lot of golf growing up. Matt referenced that, and I am 2 years older than Matt. Mike is a year older than me, but we all golfed, and it was golf is a unifying sport. It doesn't matter your age or your ability, your background. You golf, and that's what you do. So we spent a lot of time at the Valley City Country Club golfing, and this one particular round, it was Mike Ford, Matt, Kyle, and myself. And we played hole number 3 is a par 5. And we, as a group, played the course, or the hole, in the scores of a 2, 3, 4, and 5. Mike Ford, double eagle. I got the eagle. Matt got the birdie, and Kyle got the par. And we gave Kyle so much crap, because he was the best golfer of us all. And it kind of was the opposite of our ability. So, we never let Kyle live that one down. There's so many more stories I could say about playing golf. I think that was the thing I remember most about playing golf in college was, the meets were great and the competition was good. But just playing golf every day with my teammates was what I remember. It was fun. We all kind of knew when our classes all finished, and we knew who's our teammates' schedules. So it was easy to kind of meet up out there. And Monty showed up every once in a while. How's it going, guys? Good. Okay, keep it up. But that's what I remember most about, Valley City State golf. And growing up in Valley City, being a little kid going to the football games and the basketball games and seeing all these guys that you kind of idolized growing up. And now I am fortunate to be part of this. So it's an honor, and I really thank you. Oh, I forgot. My mom was streaming, so hi, Mom. So the last thing I'd like to say is Kyle related. He was just really, really good. It was fun golfing with Matt and Kyle growing up. I always say those guys always held me down. I could never get, if it wasn't for those guys, I'd be way more famous. But that's not true. It was so much fun watching them play, and especially Kyle. He was just a pure talent. He could do anything he wanted with the golf ball. And what I'd really like to say is I was in the Brainerd Baxter area many times with my kids with their activities. And I'll look them up next time, or I'll get a hold of them next time. And I never did. And so I just want to tell all of you, if there's somebody out there that you've lost touch with, or I should look that guy up, or I should look that girl up, just do it. Please do it. I miss my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, and no pressure, Coach Manny, but back-to-back, your goals in front of you, right, Coach? All right. Our next inductee this evening is Mr. Mike Tenuto.
A native of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Mike Tenuto excelled as a defensive lineman for the Valley City State football team from 1972 to 1975. In the spring of 1972, Athletic Director Bill Osman allowed me to take a recruiting trip to Philadelphia. When I called Mike's home, he wasn't home, but I spent time talking to his mother, Ann, who made sure Mike made it to his meeting with me. Mike had opportunities to attend larger schools, but to this day, I'm sure that conversation with Ann helped us a lot. Mike played linebacker in high school at about 235 pounds, but he continued to grow into a defensive tackle at Valley City State. One of his greatest strengths was his ability to use his hands to keep blockers from his body. What really made Mike successful was his work ethic. He took his position and role very seriously. We never had to worry about Mike not giving 100% in every activity. His natural athletic ability combined with his work ethic made him an unstoppable force on the defensive line. We won a conference championship during Mike's first season, and he was named the team's most improved player. He came into his own as a defensive tackle in his sophomore season, earning all-conference for the first time. As a junior, Mike was the team's top defensive player and was named all-conference, honorable mention all-district. He was selected a team captain for his senior season in 1975, helping lead the Vikings to a 7-2 overall record. Mike capped his Viking career in 1975 with all-conference, all-district, and honorable mention all-American awards. Mike's work ethic carried over to the classroom, where Mike had his priorities in order. At one time, Mike lived in a basement apartment in our home, and on a nice Saturday, one of his buddies came to our back door and hollered that there was a party going on. I overheard Mike's response. "I've got some English to read, and after I clean the apartment, I'll join you." Congratulations on your accomplishments, Mike, and welcome to the Viking Hall of Fame.
I'm not a big speech guy, but thank you very much for Valley City State. I have to thank Corey, Coach Nyhus, Coach Lemnis, Coach Stu. Got to thank John for coming out from California. Definitely Glenn Smoltz, all the guys who I met. Bergen, they showed us the whole campus today, which was unbelievable. You're on the right track. Pederson, Coca, who else? Olson. All you guys that came from all over. I got Haggerty. Who else did I miss? Oh, Olson's sister, too. We all went to school together. Oh, Sal Chatino came in with me on a plane from Baltimore. I never expected this, and it's a great honor, and you got a lot of things going on here. I mean, really, with all the building, you're on your way here. I never expected to see this much. But I want to thank you all. I met Coach Warner. I met the head coach today and congratulate him. He's been here a long time, and good luck tomorrow, coaches, both of you, okay? Thank you very much for this honor. Thank you.
Couple things about Mike Tenuto, coaches, defensive coaches. That's how you like your defensive guys, right? Second thing is, if he sticks his hand out to shake yours, don't do it. I'm missing a third knuckle. I had said forever that Harold Stenson, many of you know who he is, had the greatest handshake ever. It was like sticking your hand in a vice. He's got Challenger right here. Second thing is, Mike was a great defensive tackle, and obviously... So, D-tackle and nose guard, yes. Okay. And the people that benefit the most from that are the linebackers, right? What did Schmaltz play? Yeah, he was, and we searched hard for this because one time Glenn had a birthday, and we found a newspaper article of Glenn Schmaltz. He had intercepted a pass in a game, And those of you that remember Rick Nielsen, when he was the Times Record sports editor, Rick was pretty quick with his wit. And they had a picture of Schmaltz intercepting the pass and running up the sideline, and Rick's caption said, Schmaltz intercepting a pass, being outraced by one fan and nearly another to the end zone. Mike, congratulations, very well deserved. Our next inductee, you don't want to shake hands with Mike Tenuto, you don't want to let Jeff Pederson kick you.
Affectionately known as the Foot by many of his teammates. Lockered between Pete Hughes and John Overby. Pete named him the Foot, and J.O. started out with Yo Foot, as everybody calls him. Jeff was an excellent kicker and punter for Valley City State from 1979 to 1982. The Grafton native made 25 field goals, 72 extra points during his college career, scoring 147 points, leaving his mark as one of the most successful kickers to ever wear a Viking uniform. Jeff came to Valley City State with a reputation of having a big leg, had his high school record 54-yard field goal at Grafton. That record was broken 40 years later by a Shanley graduate who is at USC. As a Viking, Jeff made several big kicks during his career. He kicked the game-winning field goal in the final seconds against Jamestown, securing a 22-20 win over our rivals in 1980. The next week, he made 3 field goals and scored all of our points in a 9-7 win over Dickinson State. These 2 performances helped us win the 1980 championship and advance us into the national playoffs. In the playoffs, Jeff scored the first points of the second quarter with a field goal, and we took a 16-7 win over McMurray College. The 1980 squad remains the only Viking football team to win a national playoff game. Jeff's 25 career field goals is a school record that stood for more than 30 years. Jeff won 2 conference championships also during that time. He does have a school record Valley City State field goal of 62 yards against Morehead State. Jeff was also Valley City State's first academic All-American, maintaining a 3.7 GPA during his college career. He was followed in 1981 by Mike Smith as an academic All-American. Now, a few things that I really feel are important. After that football career, Jeff stepped out and really became a success and a leader in his industry. Some of his personal successes really matter. One being he was the youngest mayor in the city of Grafton in 1990. He was a CEO of Friendship and Riverview Living Center for 24 years. Passed that on to my daughter-in-law, Carrie Do, which was kind of interesting. Presently, Jeff is a president and CEO of Village Family Center with 7 locations in the Midwest. That is the definition of leadership. Jeff has been married for 39 years to his lovely wife, Lonnie. Interesting that they dated 9 years before they married, but Jeff says she wasn't ready. They have 2 beautiful daughters, Taylor and Julie. 3+ grandkids, as they're expecting a baby girl in the fall to make it 3 girls and a boy. Congratulations, Jeff. Welcome to the Viking Hall of Fame.
I had to write everything down so I'd remember it. I'm getting a little bit old. First of all, President Lefebvre, members of the faculty and administration, distinguished coaches and members of the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, honored fellow inductees, teammates, family, friends, and Bill Terrell. It is with great honor and humility that I accept this wonderful gift of induction into the Valley City State University's Athletic Hall of Fame. I am truly overwhelmed. As a kicker, you can imagine. what's the chances of getting into the Hall of Fame? But thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to tell you a little bit about how I came to Valley City State. I'm originally from Grafton, North Dakota, where I played baseball, football, and hockey, and my true passion was for hockey. I graduated in 1978 and had an academic scholarship to attend Princeton University to play hockey for the Princeton Tigers. There was one problem, and I think they're going to make a Hallmark movie about this. I was in love with a young woman who was a year younger than I was, and we had dated for 6 years, and I wasn't sure what to do. Do I follow my head or do I follow my heart? I ended up deciding not to attend Princeton and to wait for her to graduate and attend college together, but this was a big gamble because I had no promise that we were going to continue to date. So it was heart over head. So I worked for my father, who owned a jewelry store in Grafton, for a year, and I kept in touch with my fellow teammate Brian Lunsky, who was playing at Valley City State. He told me that a kicker was a senior and would be graduating in the spring and to think about coming to Valley City next fall. Enter Coach Dew. In December of 1978, Coach Dew made a trip north to Grafton and found me working at the store, and he asked me to consider coming to Valley City State to play football for the Vikings. I thanked him for the visit and for considering me, and I guess the rest is history. In the summer of 1979, I attended a football camp at the invitation of Coach Dew to kick with Errol Mann. He was an NFL kicker who had played for the Packers, the Lions, and the Raiders, where he won a Super Bowl. Errol was a straight-on kicker, and I was a sidewinding soccer-style kicker. But it was a great honor to meet him, and it solidified my decision to come to Valley City. I arrived in August for the infamous 3-a-day practices. Coach Dew had me slotted as a tight end. He saw my number 81. Never played tight end before. In Grafton, I had started at quarterback for 3 years. I did the punting and the kicking and played defensive end my senior year. I had a chronic back problem in high school that would flare up from time to time. And after about a week of practicing and banging heads, it was acting up again. I knew long term it was not going to be a good thing for me to continue. So I approached Coach Dew about the idea of just letting me kick and punt, and he was open to it. I would continue to do all the conditioning with the team during practice, and then I would head over to the field to kick and punt. Coach Dew's son, Jimmy, who's here, and Coach Lemnis's son, Bobby, would come out and tag along with me to shag footballs. I even talked our trainer, Bill Terrell, into coming over and holding the ball for me when I practiced field goals and extra points. But Bill would not hold the ball with his finger because he thought I was going to kick his finger. I had to give him a stick to place on top of the ball, and I convinced him to try it with his finger, but every time I approached, Bill would lift his finger off the ball, and the ball would tip one way or the other, and that wasn't a good thing. So I said, Bill, you're lifting your finger. And he said, no, I'm not. So I tried it again, and this time I faked like I was going to kick it, and sure enough, up came the finger. Well, finally, I assured him that even my girlfriend could hold the football. And so after shaming him, he finally got comfortable in holding the ball for me. So I owe all my success to Bill Terrell. I remember my first kickoff against Bemidji State on a beautiful Saturday night. I kicked off, ran down the field, and made the tackle. As I was running off the field, I heard, "Daggone it, Pederson, hell's bells. What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm making the tackle, Coach." Coach Dew said, "Don't you know? You're the safety on the kickoff." And that ended my tackling career. My sophomore year, I remember playing Jamestown in Pumpkinville, and they were ranked number 7 in the nation at the time. We wound up beating them 22-20 on a last-second field goal. I had kicked 2 field goals earlier in that game, and I missed 2 attempts. But my teammate, John Hardy, came over to me and looked me in the eyes on the final kick, and he said, "Keep the faith, buddy, keep the faith." It sailed through the uprights with 13 seconds left on the game, and we won. The next game, like Coach Dew had mentioned, we played Dickinson at home, and I had the opportunity to connect on all 3 field goal attempts and we defeated the Blue Hawks 9-7. That team, the 1980 team, went on to play in the NAIA National Semifinal games in Tacoma, Washington, against Pacific Lutheran, after defeating McMurray College in Abilene in the quarterfinals. You saw the score was 16-7, and my good friend Scott Radloff, another inductee, said, "How did we end up with 16? You kicked a field goal, we got a touchdown. Did I miss an extra point? Oh, geez. Must have been a bad hold or a bad snap." But a lot of my teammates from that team and other teams that I was on through 1983 have been inducted individually as well, and I know we have some here tonight. They were mentioned earlier. 2 weeks ago, we got to celebrate our 40-year reunion here in Valley City and had about 30 teammates attend the celebration, and it was truly, absolutely wonderful to see everyone. Another fond memory I have is kicking a 62-yard field goal against Moorhead my junior year. And as years have passed, my version of that kick goes like this. We were down 27-0 with 2 seconds left on the clock just before halftime. Moorhead State had not allowed any offensive points to be scored in the first half all year long. The defensive line was yelling, "Watch for the fake." I think the referee also thought it was going to be a fake. He was lined up on the 20-yard line of Moorhead. The ball was to be placed on our own 48-yard line from the snap. The ref blew the whistle to start the final play. The ball was snapped, the hold was down, the kick was up and away. And I remember it seemed to take forever to get there. But I looked and I could see the ref running backwards, trying to get to the goalposts. He lifted his arms, indicating it was good. And pandemonium broke out on the field. My teammates were congratulating me, as well as the Moorhead State Dragons. It was the turning point of the game. We went down into the locker trailing 27-3, and we wound up losing 52-10. So it wasn't the turning point of the game. One honor I will never forget came from Coach Lemnis. Coach Lemnis would always honor one defensive player with the best hit of the game. It was called the Top Rock Award. We were playing in Lamar's, Iowa, and they had a great running back who also did kick returns. We kicked off, and he received the ball. Now, knowing my job was to be safety, I was following instructions. The next thing I know is he broke through our kick coverage team, and he was running at me. And I was the only person between him and the end zone. Now, being an old hockey player, I knew watch the belly button. That goes wherever he goes. So he made a move, and I wrapped him up, made the tackle, and Coach Lemnis gave me Top Rock Award for the hit. Now my teammate, Jeff Huey, who was sitting at my table, describes it a different way. Jeff says, "Here's what happened. You closed your eyes, he ran into you, and when you got up, you were looking through the ear hole of your helmet." I said, "Either way, baby, it was Top Rock." Another memory at Lamar's was we sat down for a team meal in their cafeteria, and I saw a piano, and I play a little by ear. So I went over and I started plunking away, and the next thing I knew, I was pelted with hard rolls, potatoes, and vegetables by my teammates. I turned around and a food fight had broken out, so I don't know if it was my playing or what it was, but it was a very memorable occasion. The thing I remember about Valley City football were all the great teammates I met. Many of our friendships have lasted a lifetime. Even though you may not see them for 5 or 10 or 20 years, the bond remains the same. Through the battles on the field, to the battles in our lives, our friendships have survived and thrived. Through locker room antics, which I won't describe, to our Friday after practice goalpost huddles, we became one family. Coach Mack said this year, "Watching and listening to these guys at the annual Viking golf tournament, you wouldn't know they even liked each other, but you know they love each other." And it is truly amazing what transpired in that time at VCSU. It has lived on through today and forever because we all row. Again, I want to thank my coaches for the opportunities you gave me to be part of the team. I want to thank all my teammates for your support and acceptance of this old kicker. This honor I have received is shared with each and every one of my teammates. It was a team that won. It was a team that had success. It will always be a team for me. I want to thank the faculty who provided me with an outstanding education that served me well in my professional life and gave me an opportunity to be named a first-team NAIA Academic All-American representing Valley City State University. I want to thank the administration who hired me to be a resident assistant and eventually a head resident with my wife when we got married our senior year. Oh, and if you're wondering about that woman that I waited for and gave up my Princeton hockey experience for, I would like to thank her for making that happen because it sent me to Valley City State and the opportunities it has given me to be here with my friends and my family. By the way, I did marry her, and we did celebrate 39 years together. I'd like to introduce my wife, Dr. Lonnie Pederson, if you would stand up. Many of my teammates said I outkicked my coverage when Lonnie married me, and I said, I know. Finally, I want to thank my God for the gifts He has given me in this lifetime, and He continues to give me and carry me through each day. Congratulations to all the inductees, and go Vikings. Before I end, and I have the mic, I'd like you to come up, Corey, because Corey is the new head of development for Valley City State, and I want everyone to think about what Valley City State means to you. My wife and I would like to present you with this check to the foundation. He didn't even have to ask for it. But my wife was in development as well, and so she made me give it to him. Thank you.
Lonnie, that's why we've always liked you best. So, and congratulations, Jeff. It's good to have a kicker in the Hall of Fame finally. And 3 weeks ago, Coach Mack and Coach Horner's team beat Concordia on a last-second kick. And it brought us to the point of when was the last time that had happened. And Mark Potts, who is phenomenal, corrected us on when it happened. It actually had happened recently, but until we had talked to him, we thought it was back to, your kick against Jamestown. And then somebody had corrected us when we had the 1980 reunion and saying that Bubba Schweigert had actually won a game for the Vikings because he missed a kick against us. So, anyway, Jeff and Lonnie, thank you very much, and congratulations. Our next inductee this evening is Teri Lowe Cressup.
As her basketball and softball coach, I am honored to present Teri Lowe Cressup for induction into the Valley City State University Hall of Fame, class of 2021. From the small town of Mackville, North Dakota, Teri came to Valley City to pursue a teaching degree and to play basketball and softball. She excelled both in the classroom and as a two-sport athlete, earning 3 all-conference accolades in softball and 1 all-conference award in basketball. On the diamond, Teri was a smooth, athletic shortstop with a solid bat and an exceptional glove. Teri exemplified what it meant to be a team player. She practiced hard and was a fierce competitor who quietly went about her business, making both the routine and difficult play look easy. Teri was not emotionally demonstrative on the field. She just let all her play do the talking. As a freshman, Teri made an immediate impact on our softball team. She led the team in batting average and earned all-conference honors as she anchored our defense on our 1983 conference championship season. We also won conference championships during her sophomore season in '84 and her senior season in '86. Individually, Teri was recognized as an all-conference softball player 3 times, earning the honor in 1983, 1985, and 1986, and was an important contributor to our decade of dominance on the softball diamond. On the basketball court, Teri also demonstrated her passion for the game and for our team. She was a steady and consistent player who could handle either the point or off-guard positions. Teri was recognized as an all-conference player during the 1984-85 basketball season, averaging 11.7 points per game. At the time of her graduation, Teri was number 10 on the all-time scoring list. Teri earned her teaching degree from Valley City State in 1986 and continues in her teaching profession. Congratulations, Teri. Welcome to the 2021 Vikings Hall of Fame.
Where's Corey? That was a surprise. Okay, this looks big, but I had to type really big so I could read it. And it's all written out word for word, so I can't just get up here and ad-lib. So I'd like to sincerely thank the Hall of Fame committee for this great honor. And congratulations to all of the other inductees tonight. I also would like to thank Linda Roberts, my coach for basketball and softball, for giving me the opportunity to keep doing what I love to do. I have loved playing sports since I was very young. I grew up in a small town, Mackville, North Dakota. I am the 4th child of 5 kids, and I do remember my siblings and I getting together in the churchyard with the neighborhood kids to play baseball or wiffle ball. We also played many games right in our yard. We had 4 worn-out spots in the grass in the yard that were our bases when we played wiffle ball. The home base spot was pretty big, and there was a tree right behind it for the backstop. Over the swing set would be a home run. So my siblings and I and the neighborhood kids played a lot of ball together. Unfortunately, as a young girl, I didn't have an opportunity to play on an organized team. I remember being bummed that I couldn't play softball until 6th grade. My brother got to start t-ball at about age 6, played with Corey Anderson, by the way. So we'd go watch his baseball games, and I always wished I could play too. We also didn't get to play basketball till 7th grade. Our boys got to start in 5th grade, and I remember my friend and I used to walk to the auditorium after school to watch the boys practice. We knew if we were lucky, the coach would let us shoot around for a little bit. I remember being excited when my parents put a patio by our house. Now we had a nice sized piece of cement that I could dribble around on. We didn't have a basketball hoop up yet, so I would just dribble around and then shoot onto the roof of the house. After about a year, my dad found a spot to put a hoop up on the side of the house, so now we had a nice spot to dribble, and we could also shoot baskets. So finally, 6th to 7th grade, I got to start some organized softball and basketball. My senior year, I was recruited for basketball by Linda Roberts. My first encounter with Linda Roberts was when she reffed our regional game my senior year. We were playing for 3rd place, which I don't know if they do that anymore, but we were playing for 3rd place. We were playing Tulna. We were losing to Tulna, and I really didn't like to lose to Tulna. So sometimes I would kind of get mad during the game and start to get a little more aggressive. And so I started forcing up some shots and was putting up more shots than usual. Anyway, I remember I drove down the floor, dribbled to the corner, threw up a shot, got fouled, fell to the floor. Linda blew the whistle and called the foul. And then I remember she looked at the hoop, and she looked back at me in disbelief and said, "Did that go in?" I just nodded, and she laughed and went off to record the foul. Unfortunately, we ended up losing. She didn't call enough fouls, by the way. Just kidding. During my freshman season, Linda asked if I wanted to play softball too, so I said sure. The softball team had gone to nationals the year before, and all the starters were back except 2 positions. I was fortunate to earn one of those positions in left field. I had played a lot of softball growing up, but like a lot of our players, I had only played slow pitch. Thanks to a lot of time on the pitching machine and batting practice with our excellent pitcher, Charlene Griffin, we adjusted to the change. Even though I had played mostly infield, I loved playing the outfield. I guess I don't have a lot of stats. I think we went to nationals my freshman year, but I don't really remember how we did, so it was fun. My favorite memories of college sports, besides the actual games, would probably be all of the road trips. Another memory of Linda Roberts, and by the way, I haven't seen her since, and I didn't know she was going to do that video. I still will never forget her. She loved Michael Jackson. So I remember her singing in practice and on the People Mover, singing the Michael Jackson songs, and she even did the little moonwalk dancing, and so she was a lot of fun. I also remember walking into restaurants as a team. I thought it was pretty cool. I also remember being pretty shocked and surprised the very first time to find out we didn't have to pay for our own food. So I feel so fortunate to have played 4 years of basketball and softball. I was lucky enough to be able to get a lot of playing time every year. What I think is so awesome about being in a college sport is having a team or a group to be a part of. It was like having another family. I have many memories with some amazing people through those college years. I'll stop for a second. So Charlene, she's the only one here, I think, as far as basketball that I played with. And she was a senior. I was a freshman. I was pretty shy. She was not.
I was once.
Shy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you were a senior. So she is one of those amazing people that I got to play with. But for me, not only was the team like a family, I was also blessed to have real family members with me. My sister Susan transferred to Valley City my freshman year, so she also played softball and a year of basketball. Lisa Woodbury, our cousin, played softball too. And we also had 2 more cousins on the team for a couple years, so there were 5 of us on the softball team that were related. So I always had close friends and family with me, which made it even more memorable. I want to thank my parents for everything they did for us growing up and supporting all of us. I mentioned the black dirt spots in the yard that we used as bases. I know Dad would try to grow the grass back in those spots, but he still never complained about us ruining the yard. And when I used to shoot the ball up onto the roof, it was right above the laundry room and the kitchen. But my mom would never make me stop. Okay. One winter, my dad even made a skating rink in the yard so we could skate and play hockey. That's probably pretty common now, but back in the day it was pretty amazing. I'm pretty sure my mom would come up with these different ideas for the family, and Dad would follow through. Smiling and doing whatever she thought was a good idea, and he would agree. So thanks, Dad and Mom, for all of that. Thank you again to everyone on the Hall of Fame committee for this honor, and also to everyone involved in the organization of this event. I really wanted to emphasize my unique love for sports at such a young age because it really makes me appreciate this award even more. Thank you to all my teammates for all the special memories, and thanks to all the staff at VCSU who were influential in my education by taking an interest in my life and the lives of all of their students. Okay. So also thanks to my family for being here. My husband's here, Dave, who also played basketball here at Valley City State. And he's been a passionate coach for over 30 years. He earned his 600th win a couple years ago. My daughter Brandy and her family, Brandy and Nate, her husband. Their 2 kids, McKinley is 2.5, and she just had a baby 3 weeks ago. So they were able to come, so I appreciate that. And my sons, our sons, Jordan and Carter, are both here. Brandy teaches too. Dave and I both teach. Jordan teaches in Wadena. Carter is at Fergus Falls playing basketball. I just want to mention too, small world. It's been great seeing all these people. I didn't expect to see so many people from college because we haven't been back here very much. So I've loved seeing, I don't want to mention names because I'll forget somebody, but it's been fun seeing a lot of people from college. Just want to mention Jordan coaches and teaches in Wadena, and I believe he coached Jim Dew's granddaughter, small world, in tennis. He coaches tennis and basketball. My sister Susan is here. I got to get back to my notes here so I forget. Sister Susan, who came to college with me, and remember I said sometimes I would get mad? She always knew that, and she would yell from the stands to get mad if we were losing, because she knew I'd get a little more aggressive then. So Susan, I appreciated. We were able to live together in college here for 3 years, and we lived with Lisa Woodbury. And we also lived with our pitcher, Val Weaver, so we had a lot of fun memories. Lisa Enstead Woodbury, and Mark, Lisa's husband, also another Valley City grad. And then special thanks to my brother Jeff, who retired a couple years ago from teaching and coaching in Thief River Falls. He was able to bring my dad, so I appreciate that they could come. And I was surprised with my aunt and uncle, Tracy and Margie, who live here in Valley City, and Jill and Chad. Thank you, Mom. Thank you to everybody.
Congratulations, Teri. If you would notice on the back of your program, it lists all of the Hall of Fame inductees. And the very first person on there is Bill Osmond. Anybody know where Bill's from? Mackville, North Dakota, Teri. There you go, right? All-time saves leader in baseball history is Mark Sand, also from Mackville, North Dakota. So there's been good people there. I would tell you that Teri Lowe is one of the people that, as an athlete growing up in Mackville, you know, you would say, hey, I want to be like this person, I want to be like that person. It's not very often for a person to say, man, I would like to be like Teri Lowe. Teri is 2 years older than me, and she was the epitome of an athlete at that time, and probably still is to this day. We had the opportunity to, in our older years, play softball together, and I played with some good baseball players. Scott Radloff, pretty good first baseman. Steve Olson, pretty good first baseman. Mark Sand and I threw a lot of not very accurate throws to first base, and Teri Lowe was as good as Scott Radloff and Steve Olson at first base. So very deserved. Congratulations, Teri. Our last inductee this evening is Mr. Tom Klapp.
Well, we may not be on a fan bus all the way to Valley City today, but we weren't letting you off the hook, Tom Klapp. Congratulations on being a baseball legend.
Tom.
Klapp! Tom! Klapp! Tom! Klapp! Tom! Klapp! Tom! Klapp! Tom! Klapp! Tom! Klapp! Tom!
Tom Klapp was a three-time All-American for the Viking baseball team, excelling as both a pitcher and infielder from 2001 to 2004. A native of Elkford, British Columbia, Tom finished his Viking career with a 23-9 record on the mound and posted a 3.69 career ERA with 200 strikeouts in 227 innings. Tom had 20 complete games and pitched 8 shutouts in his Viking career. As a batter, Tom had a .315 average with 13 home runs, 22 doubles, and 77 RBIs in 122 games. Tom's 2003 season was something legendary. As a batter, he led the team with 8 home runs and 40 RBIs, while also posting a 9-2 record as a pitcher. Tom's 8 complete games and 3 shutouts in 2003 are tied for the most in school history since those stats started being tracked. As a senior in 2004, Tom recorded a career-best 2.5 ERA with 6 complete games and 3 saves. He also batted a career-best .349 as a senior with 4 home runs and 27 RBIs. Tom was named All-American each of his last 3 seasons and was the conference's most valuable graduating senior in 2004. He was a 4-time All-Conference selection and also took care of work in the classroom, earning the NAI Scholar Athlete Award as a junior and senior. In my tenure as the head coach for the Vikings, Tom was the best all-around player I coached, a dominant pitcher who could also be the best player at any position in the infield or outfield as needed. When he was on the mound, our whole team felt we just needed to score 1 run and we would win. It was amazing the effect that he had on our team. He enters the Hall of Fame joining legendary Vikings Scott Radloff, Tyler Schlecht, and Darren Lowe is the only Vikings to be named All-Conference in baseball all 4 years. More importantly, Tom represented all that you would want in a player as a coach. Although he was very soft-spoken, he led by example and is certainly the type of person you would want your son or daughter to emulate. Congratulations, Tom. Welcome to the Vikings Hall of Fame.
This is like really weird because this makes me feel really old and really young at the same time. It's a really good honor for me, or a special honor to have Corey be the one to read that for me and be here tonight because as a Canadian that comes from 1,100 miles away or 1,800 kilometers for those of you that speak that language, away from home, it's not an easy thing to do. You're trying to find a home in Valley City. A home away from home. And I remember when Corey called me a few months ago, I don't talk to Corey all that often, but his number's still on my phone, and I assumed he was going to ask for money, because that's usually what he does. It wasn't the case. He said I was being inducted in the Hall of Fame, and I was humbled and honored all at the same time, but ultimately I would say I was a lot more confused. It was weird to me. Much like Jeff had talked about earlier, I think when you play a team sport, individual recognition is not something that we do really well. Our success is team success. So it's a very humbling honor to be up here individually, but I also, over the last couple of months as I've thought and reminisced about time at Valley City State, I keep coming back to the word hope, and that's kind of a weird word. I'll explain it to you here. I hope people, when they see my picture and my name, they understand the huge number of people that play a part in that. I'll start with my teammates. To say that your teammates are kind of the backbone of what you do is an understatement. If you put the time and add it all up, we spend more time with our teammates than our own family. We form a brotherhood in those 4 years together. They become friends. They become lifelong friends. And it's impossible without people like that to get you up at 4:30 in the morning to go to practice, because as Corey can vouch, if you're on time, you're late. So they're the ones that get you there. They're the ones that get you up. They get you through the tough times. They're the ones that are there to celebrate the good times with you. And without them, I wouldn't be standing here. And I know that. I hope people understand the value and the role that a coach plays. And I know Corey's over there humbly going to shake his head and say he had nothing to do with this. I coach now as well, like most of us do. It's our way of, I'll call it the ripple effect. The things that we learn here, the things that we take away from our time here, it has a ripple effect. we pass that on to the next generation. Corey and I are a lot alike. Corey's probably the smartest baseball person I've ever met, which is good because if you ever actually seen him athletic play, he's not fast, but somehow he steals bases. He can't throw very hard, but somehow he'll throw a fastball by you. But the mental approach to the game, I think Corey and I connected. And I learned a lot about the game from him, which is something that I think if I ended up somewhere else, I don't think I would have got. The value that a coach plays is insurmountable. I don't think you can understate it. There's a connection there that people gain that if the wrong person is in charge, it doesn't happen. I want to share 3 of my favorite baseball stories with you. So as a freshman, and I don't remember much. I have a weird memory. I remember like little moments, but I don't remember a lot of surrounding details. So as a freshman, I remember it's batting practice. And it's a nice day, so you can imagine it's probably later in the season because it's like golf. If you've played baseball in North Dakota, early season, it's usually not very nice out. But it's a nice day. Corey's throwing batting practice like usually happens. As a freshman, I tattooed one. And because this is a Hall of Fame speech, let's just assume it went about 410 feet. More than likely routine fly ball to the left. Okay? But as a freshman, I'm standing, I'm looking at that ball sail, I'm staring at it, and over here, I hear Corey, don't stare at it, don't look at it, don't stare at it. I think it was about a week and a half of batting practice after that. I don't think I made contact. Corey proceeded to throw me everything he could imagine, everything curved, everything changed speeds, everything moved. He put me in my place. People might assume that that's some arrogant coach putting an arrogant freshman in his place, but that's not the moral of the story. And I hope people understand it. The moral of that story is to respect the game. And I got that, Corey. The second story I want to share with you, I think it was junior year. The video made it sound like I hit a lot of home runs. I really didn't. I got lucky about 22 times or something, 13 times. But junior year, I remember this. We were at home. Again, I have no idea who we were playing. I think we were up by a couple runs. Josh Schreiber he got on base in front of me, single, got on base. Corey put on the hit and run. So, yeah, I can hit a ground ball to right. That's no problem. I can do that. Can handle the bat. Ground ball to the right side. Got it. So pitcher winds up. Josh takes off. Stealing. I get the juiciest curveball I've ever seen. Did the exact opposite of what Corey wanted me to do. I yanked that thing left center, home run. And usually when you hit a home run, you come around the bases, you come around second. Corey's usually there with some kind of smile on his face and hand out, maybe a sly one of those, something like that. You got it. All right. This time, all I see is this move. As I get closer to third, I'm expecting a smile. I'm expecting something. This. As I round third, all I hear out of Corey's mouth is, "You're lucky that went out." I know. And I hope people understand, again, the moral of that story. It was, you got to have fun. You got to enjoy the game. And I know Corey was having fun in that moment too. And I hope people understand that I love this game. I loved it, and I played it with a lot of joy. The last story I'll share with you is senior year. I have no idea who we were playing. I know it was a game that I'm pitching wasn't going well. It was one of those days where everything you throw just doesn't end up where you want it. Curveball's not curving. Fastball doesn't seem to have anything. Middle of the inning, it was probably about the fourth inning, something like that. Corey came out, took me out. I went out to right, finished the game. I wasn't pitching well. And after the game, Corey came and talked to me. He goes, "You know why I took you out?" I was terrible. Like, I would have taken me out too. I don't know what I said, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, it was bad. I would have taken me out too. And Corey goes, no. It's because first time in 4 years I've ever seen you look in the dugout. And it's a story that sticks out to me because it was the ultimate sign of respect in my mind. To know that I had a teammates and my coaches trusted me to go out daily and compete. And they knew when I was on the mound, that's where I was going to finish. And it was I don't remember, Corey might remember better than I do. I don't remember, other than that one time, that I had to be pulled out of the middle of an inning. And it wasn't, I'm not ashamed of that, by the way. I would have done it too, because I'm a coach now. You probably gave me a longer hook than I would have. But it was just the ultimate sign of those people that I put a lot of faith and trust in, also trust me wholeheartedly. I valued my ability to go out daily and compete. And regardless of the weather, because when you're in North Dakota, you're going to play in some bad weather, regardless of my opponent, regardless of how I might feel, I'm going to compete. And that was the first time that I felt like people around me believed in me. I'm fortunate enough tonight, and I hope people understand the value that parents have. I'm sure we all do. I'm fortunate tonight that my parents could join us from British Columbia. Traveling right now during COVID things is not easy, so they were able to get down here. That's a special thing for me. It didn't take long. My parents were both good athletes, but it didn't take long for me to surpass their baseball ability. But their job wasn't to teach me baseball. Their job was to provide opportunities. They did that. They gave me the opportunity to follow dreams and create a life for myself. They built a foundation that I can become a human being that I'm proud of. And I want to know, or I want to tell them, I hope they know, that I never took this for granted. I wore that name, both sides of the jersey, with a lot of pride. I never took it for granted. I would be remiss not to mention my wife, Linda, who's also here tonight. This is the mandatory wife mention. And I say that jokingly because this isn't the mandatory wife speech. Linda and I started dating in college, so she was actually there with me by my side for a lot of my college career. And she's joined tonight with her mom, Cheryl, and stepdad, Daryl. And I'm fortunate that they're here tonight, too. It's nice to feel supported and loved. I'll tell you the greatest thing that my wife ever did for me, and this is going to sound weird, she was never a fan of mine. And if now that we're married, she's still not really a fan of mine. And I know that sounds weird. To say that she wasn't a fan is kind of odd because she came to all the games. When I played baseball outside of Valley City, she traveled all over the place and followed me. But I don't know how to do things, a lot like most of us in here. I don't know how to do things without putting everything I have into it. I just don't. And up to this moment in time, the only thing I ever knew was baseball and school. I didn't know how to just relax and be a human being. And she understood that. She wanted to talk about baseball all the time. I said, I don't want to talk about baseball. I just want to be. And she understood that. So she understood that being a fan for her meant silently be a fan. I didn't want her to be a fan. I needed the time to walk away from the game, from school, and just be a human being. And that's why, to this day, we still walk side by side. Her telling me what to do, but we're still side by side. If you didn't notice, I probably get some of this from Corey, too, because he's the world's best zinger guy. I would also like just to take some time to say, to thank you to the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. When I say hope, I really do hope that the Hall of Fame Selection Committee looks more than just numbers, looks at more than just numbers. When I look at my stats, they're good. They're good. I wouldn't say any one of them is like, ooh, that's an amazing stat. But that's kind of been my MO for my whole life. I've been pretty good at most things. And they add up to something that tends to be pretty good. But I'm a lot more proud of more than just the stats. I'm proud of my time here. I'm proud of the time that I've spent with my teammates. I'm proud of the time I put in the classroom with the teachers and the professors here. I'm proud of the life I've created because of my time here. And I hope the Hall of Fame Selection Committee took that into account. I hope they did. I hope when people see that picture and my name up on the wall amongst all of yours, and I'm proud that it's up there, and I'm honored to be up there amongst all of yours. I hope they see beyond that picture and see all the other names that are associated with mine. Thank you. This is amazingly humbling opportunity and a very special honor. Special because of those people at that table, and special because that man right there. Thank you very much.
Tom, I just want to tell you, 23-9, those 9 losses, I bet all of those teams went into their respective Hall of Fames because they beat you. That's the type of pitcher that you were. As a coach, I've had the opportunity to be with a lot of great people, with Coach Dew, Coach Lemnis, Coach Mack, Coach Horner, many of you. Linda Olson, my first football coach ever, in the back row. Here's what I'll say about Tom Klapp. Tom was great at the things that don't take talent. And if you are great at those things and you let your talent take over, you can be whoever you need to be. And Tom was the epitome of that. I couldn't be more proud of who he is. I didn't mention he went on to win a state championship in volleyball as a coach at Northern Cass. And that, again, is a great honor and a great achievement. And you would never hear him talk about himself. And we couldn't have a better representative of Valley City or a better person that's been here. His mom and dad, man, you guys are golden. One of the best recruits I ever had. So thank you very much. And the Viking Hall of Fame is proud to have you. So with that, I will call on our closing remarks from Jill Devries. Please, if you're a Hall of Fame member, please listen to what Jill has to say. It seems like things are over, but please listen to this.
Drinks are on Corey. That's what I had to say.
Now start listening.
Okay. Again, congratulations to all of our Hall of Fame inductees in the class of 2021. Congratulations to all our former inductees, and thank you all for attending this year. We hope you come back as much and as often as you are able. It's just fun to see all of you. Coach Mack, we expect a W, so we can all come back here tomorrow night and celebrate. I do have some housekeeping things. I think this is going to be particularly, from what I heard up here on the stage, particularly important for the golf teams. We have a breakfast at 8:30 tomorrow morning that you're supposed to be at. We have a parade at 10:30 that you're supposed to be at. Then we have this tailgating and football game that you're supposed to be at. I don't see how a tea time fits in there. It's a schedule. Again, we'd like you to stick around, take pictures, have fun tonight. There is the Alumni Breakfast tomorrow morning at 8:30 in the cafeteria on campus in the Student Center. The parade will go downtown tomorrow afternoon starting at 10:30. Tailgating will begin at 11 o'clock tomorrow, so we'll have some fun out in the parking lot. If you don't have a spot, just park your car anywhere and walk in. There won't be any spots to park. It's all reserved. We're going to have fun for the children. It's really fun. If you haven't been to one of those events, we'll have a good day. The sun is supposed to shine. Wear as much Cardinal as you can find. If you can't find any, the bookstore will be open pretty much all day tomorrow. So stop in there and get some. And then, kickoff will be at 2 o'clock against the Comets. Mac is guaranteeing a win. Right, Horner? Rube, what do you think? Yeah, that's what I always can count on him. And then there'll be festivities here tomorrow night afterward as well. Hall of Famers, the team and the individual inductees, you will also be recognized tomorrow at halftime of the game. So please listen for announcements. Again, welcome back home. Thank you all for coming. What a fantastic class to induct into the Viking Hall of Fame. And how about a hand for Corey for tonight?
So I'm gonna defer for 1 second because I think our program is really, really, really done well and is really good. I'm gonna have Mark Potts stand up because we talk about Mark Potts a lot, and no one seems to know who Mark Potts is. You need to take a look at this young man. He is our sports information director, and you talk about making wherever you are the big time. Joe would admit we are the luckiest university to have his skill set here at Valley City State. If what you saw today you appreciated and everything that surrounds this all goes back to Mark Potts. The coaches in the back, you guys would agree, right? Yep, thumbs up back there. Mark is such a rock star. If you have the opportunity, you need to make sure you share that with Mark, and he likes Busch Light. So anyway, thank you very much. We will have pictures. I will announce those people to come forward to have their pictures here as we are done. So thank you very much. Enjoy your evening, and we will see you next year.